everybody, Ellie here. Good start. Hello everybody, Ellie here with WhoCulture, and we are so close to the Star Beast. We are, what day is it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4 days away. 4 days away from the Star Beast, and I'm very, 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 very excited. And because we're getting so close, the first reviews of the Star Beast have been revealed. Have been released. Also, don't panic, these are spoiler-free reviews. So I'm not about to spoil the plot or anything that's deemed a spoiler, because there aren't any to reveal. These are spoiler-free. I'd love to be able to give you my personal spoiler-free review of the episode, but unfortunately, not through a lack of trying, but unfortunately we were not given early access to the episodes. I'm not quite sure what the criteria is. When you do see a review being released that says that David Tennant is returning as the 10th Doctor and Ncuti Gatwa will be arriving as the 14th Doctor, it does make you question why a group of genuine fans isn't invited. Let's move on before I get angry. Okay, so our first review is from Emily Murray at GamesRadar+. The Star Beast kickstarts a whole new era of Doctor Who with style, providing a warm embrace for the already dedicated Whovians and welcoming with open arms those who are new to the widely adored show. So that to me suggests that we've got a good balance between the nostalgia that we know is going to obviously be there with the return of David Tennant and Catherine Tate, but the fact that new fans are also going to be enthralled by this suggests that they found a good balance of not overdoing it with the nostalgia and making it accessible and understandable for a new audience as well, which is good, because as much as I'm here for all the nostalgia, I can be totally sympathetic to those who might not have a clue what's going on if it relies too heavily on that. And Emily went on to say, admittedly, the episode does get off to a strange start, with both the Doctor and Donna addressing the camera directly. That's interesting. Addressing the cameras, they're breaking the fourth wall? I don't know how I feel about that. I think if it's addressing the audience and breaking the fourth wall in that way, I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I also trust the vision, and that's very intriguing. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. Okay, so we have another one here from Ollie Deich. I apologise if I said his name wrong. At MovieWeb. Tennant is an absolute joy to watch on screen. His giddy, childish yet wise take on the character once again cements the fact that he is among the best to ever play the Doctor. I can't wait to see David Tennant back in the role. Obviously we did see him very, very briefly in the Children in Need sketch, but obviously because that was a Children in Need sketch, there was an added element of a bit of silliness and OTT comedy, and I feel like that's obviously overplayed there, and in the show itself I don't know that it would be quite that far. And so I'm really excited to see him returning to this role. But what I'm also really intrigued by, and I think it was said here that the wise take on the character, I'm very intrigued to see the way that David Tennant portrays the Doctor now that he has those 3 other incarnations and all of their experiences as well. You know, this isn't the 10th Doctor, this is very much an incarnation with the same face, but all the experiences and losses and thrills of the life of Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker as well. And that I'm very interested to see how the performance is the same, but also how it varies, taking in account the other experiences that the Doctor now has within him. So Ollie goes on to say, Tate returns with her exceptional comic timing, cracking audiences up with every line of intended dialogue, and draws audiences in with her emotionally nuanced performance that delves into Donna's trauma. I like to hear that we are going to get a good balance again of the comedy of Catherine Tate and the comedy of Donna, and a good portion of the more emotional and dramatic tones as well. We've said this a lot of times. I think the role of Donna Noble really highlighted Catherine Tate's abilities as a performer. Prior to that, she was very much seen as a comedian only, and her portrayal of Donna really cemented the fact that she has some serious acting chops and she is capable of holding those more emotional and dramatic scenes as well. While I am excited to see that kind of comedy duo back, I'm glad to know that we are also going to see some real nuanced, dramatic scenes involving Catherine Tate as well. Also, just reread that. Not sure how I feel about the Donna's trauma part of that. Is Donna gonna die? I really don't think I could deal with Donna dying. So another one we have from Alex Zalban at Decider, who says, "The Star Beast is the most fun I've had watching Doctor Who in years. David Tennant and Catherine Tate prove once again they are the perfect pairing for the show, able to flip from heartbreaking emotion to laugh-out-loud comedy on a dime. Who is back, baby?" It's not the first time we've had the word heartbreaking in one of these reviews, and I'm slightly concerned for the direction that this might be taking. But again, as I've just said from the previous review, I'm really glad to hear that dynamic between Tate and Tennant hasn't wavered, that perhaps it's even grown stronger over time. We know that the pair are good friends anyway, and so I guess to work alongside your pal, especially in comedic moments, must be must be a joy. I mean, Mr. Sean Ferrick and myself, we definitely don't have fun ever. Ever. And we have another review here from the one, the only, Mr. Darren Scott, who says, "Loved The Star Beast. Felt like a feature film, but still wonderfully familiar. Very funny, very touching, gorgeous." A feature film, but not a feature film. That's the kind of vibe that I feel like we're getting from these. The amount of attention that's been drawn to them, obviously it is the 60th, but the amount of attention, the fact that we know that the budget has grown massively since the previous RTD Tate Tennant era. But I like here that Darren has said that it feels like a feature film, but it also feels wonderfully familiar. And that is perhaps maybe makes me less concerned than I might have been about them going over the top with the extra budget and Doctor Who not feeling like that silly low budget sci-fi show that it used to be. And so this is making me think that it's going to hold all those elements that make Doctor Who so special, whilst also feeling massively epic at the same time. And I'm very excited. Again, very touching. Is this going to make me cry? Is this episode going to make me cry? Probably. Josh Martin Jones at The Streamer says, "The Star Beast is at its best when the Doctor and Donna are both together, bouncing off one another's energy, and it's very clear just how much fun David Tennant and Catherine Tate are having. I appreciated the role with the Rarth Warriors play." I can do it. "I appreciated the role which the Rarth Warriors played, as well as Miriam Margolyes's hilarious and mischievous portrayal as the Meep." Also, that's the first mention we've had of Miriam Margolyes as Beep the Meep there. Honestly, I keep forgetting about Miriam Margolyes being in it, and that's not me being like, "Oh, Miriam Margolyes is in it." More the fact that there's been so many announcements and so much news, and there's just been so much focus on so much going on with these three specials that feels like, it's like that's old news because it was released so long ago. But yeah, Miriam Margolyes, that is very interesting, and obviously it's only a vocal role, a voice role, so that's going to be very intriguing. I'm very excited to see how Beep the Meep is portrayed and how it comes across on screen. And also I'm just quite intrigued to learn whether I do in fact find Beep the Meep creepy or cute, because the debate is still up for debate. It's still up for debate. Every time I think, oh, actually no, maybe Beep the Meep is cute, I see another picture and go, no, still creepy. Still creepy. It's the fingers. I don't like the fingers. They're too long and knobbly and... Mark Burrows at Hey You Guys says, "This isn't Davis in ponderous foreboding epic mode. This is his Doctor Who at its Saturday tea timiest. A ripping yarn. Not that there isn't some heartbreaking... Oh my god! A ripping yarn. Not that there isn't some heartbreak along the way. With Davis, there always is." Again, mentioning of the heartbreak. I'm really starting to get concerned that I'm going to spend the majority of this episode crying. And while that might have happened just from the point of view of a 25-year-old who is watching the most nostalgia-packed thing they've seen, just bringing back so many memories of their childhood watching Catherine Tate and David Tennant, I'm now thinking that I'm going to be crying because it's actually going to break my heart. That's what, 3, 4 reviews now that have just said that it's heartbreaking? I'm not ready for the heartbreak. And then I'm going to have to do the ups and downs for you lovely people. I'm going to have like tear-stained face. I'm not ready. And now we get to the not so enthusiastic review, coming from Neil Armstrong at BBC Culture, who says, "It's difficult to imagine even the most fervent fan being anything other than a little underwhelmed by this first special. If you've been indifferent to Who, this won't be the episode to convert you, and if you're altogether new to the show, you'll probably wonder what all the fuss has been about." That's not so good. Although, if you want to flip it on its head, it maybe suggests that, contrary to what I've just been saying, it's very focused on the nostalgia and perhaps is a little isolating to new viewers. I realise that I've just said two very contradictory things there, but I'm just going off of what I've seen here and what I've been reading. Some of them suggest that there's the great balance. This suggests to me that if you are not a die-hard Doctor Who fan, then you're not going to fully understand what's happening. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, it's a bad thing in as much as you want to expand your audience, and by isolating a group of new viewers, that's not really going to be helpful. But at the same time, it is an anniversary special, and so you've got to expect there to be nods to the past, and you've got to expect it to, you know, be more appealing to people who understand all the references. But again, I mean, Doctor Who is a very hard show to suggest where someone should start watching it, because unless you literally start right from the very beginning, you're always going to have slight nods and mentions to things that you're never going to understand fully. But that kind of happens with anything you watch. There are points where you are good to start, but unless you start from the very beginning, there's always going to be references to things that don't make full sense to you. So yeah, this guy doesn't seem so impressed. But also it suggests to me, you know, he's saying that, wondering what all the fuss is about. I'm going to dismiss this negativity here and twist it into a positive, which suggests that there is a lot of focus on the nostalgia and that it doesn't stray too far away from the kind of low-budget feel that it used to have, but in a good way. The only thing that hasn't been mentioned that we've seen is the title sequence. Now, obviously, these are spoiler-free reviews, so, you know, if there is a new title sequence, which we assume there is going to be, they can't explain what it is, but there's been no mention of it, which is weird, which makes me think either they haven't seen the new one and that was not included in whatever version they were shown, or it would be too spoilery to even comment on it, which maybe suggests that they're reusing the one from Series 4, which I highly doubt. I think that there will be a new one. But yeah, it's just one of those things that you can't really be too spoilery talking about the title sequence. So it's very strange that it hasn't been mentioned, because I think personally that would be something that we would mention almost immediately. I mean, that's one of the first things you see. And I'll tell you my thoughts on the title sequence in the ups and downs that are coming at the weekend. So that's just a few of the reviews and our thoughts on them, and surely there will be more coming out soon. But for more 60th discussion here, then why not check out our discussion about what David Tennant's Doctor Who future might hold. In the meantime, I've been Ellie with WhoCulture, and in the words of River Song herself, goodbye, sweeties.